So the Global Commission was launched back in October. It's chaired by Ban Ki-moon, Bill Gates and Kristalina Georgieva from the World Bank. Commissioners from around the world, and the whole idea is to put adaptation on the agenda, producing a report at next year's UN Global Assembly, but also making sure that it's not just about talking and reporting, but action, so working on action tracks to make sure that resilience and adaptation is on the agenda around the world, both at a national level, but also at a local level. So I've just left a session on nature-based solutions, and one of the things that comes across loud and clear is that we need to be working on both the low-carbon transition, the mitigation agenda, but also accelerating our work on resilience and adaptation, but not as a separate work strand, really making sure that both issues are mainstreamed and integrated. This has to be something that is on the agenda wherever you are around the world. So my current role, chairing the Environment Agency, we have responsibility for regulating businesses in the UK, including the water sector, and their issues like prolonged dry weather have gone up the agenda in our country. We also have responsibility for flood and coastal risk management. And again, it's become very clear that in the UK we're experiencing different weather patterns as well, and that has been emphasised by recent reports that the Met Office and other scientists in the UK have been producing. But I would also say that from my work in finance, a lot of the emphasis has been on low carbon transition. Almost by emphasising the adaptation agenda, it's felt that are you giving up on the opportunity to reduce emissions? I think now we have to, on the back of the weather events that we're now experiencing around the world, really understand that whilst we need to absolutely aim for a maximum of 2 degrees, we have to take into account the 1.5 degrees report that the IPCC has just produced. At the same time, we have climate change locked in. We need to be ready for the physical risks of climate change and accelerate our work on adaptation. And I think that is why the theme has become so much more important at this year's COP discussions. I think one of the things that we need to think about is no longer protecting for the standards that we are used to. So when we're looking at flood and coastal risk management, we have to think about preparing for the floods that are to come as opposed to the floods that we've experienced in the past. That needs a fundamental rethink, not only in terms of the work of the Environment Agency, but how it fits in at a local level, at a business level. Do we need to think about how buildings are built to make sure that they are resilient to the risks of the future risks of climate change, that they're not going to become stranded assets, but equally think about our supply chain to make sure that our businesses are able to continue to source the materials that are needed from around the world, whether that is agricultural or land-based. We need to absolutely make sure that that is being thought about from a long-term and adaptive approach.